Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving deep into one of the most important concepts in Java, multithreading. First, I'll show you how to create threads in Java using two simple methods. Then, we'll break down the thread lifecycle from creation to termination. And finally, we'll implement a real-world use case, the producer-consumer problem where multiple threads share a common resource safely. Whether you are a beginner or brushing up your core Java skills, this video will help you understand how threads work and how to manage them properly. So let's get started. So in Java, we have two ways to create a thread. One is by extending a thread class, another one is by implementing runnable interface. So let me show you an example. I have created a class by extending thread. Here I have created the object of that class and then calling start method, which is internally calling run method here. If I run this program, you can see that it is printing thread is running via thread class. Okay. Now for this class, I have implemented it using runnable interface. So first I have created that object and then I have created the thread object and passing the same instance, runnable instance in the constructor of the thread class and then calling start method, which is internally calling run method. So I run this program, so I can see that thread is running via runnable interface. So these are the two ways by which we can create thread in Java. Now we will explore thread lifecycle. When we create a thread instance, it is in new state. Then we call start method. Once we call the start method, it is in runnable state. And later, the run method will internally get called and then it is in running state. So thread went into running state. So from each step we can go like thread can be terminated. So there can be multiple reasons for thread termination. Okay, and so in between, let's say context switching may happen between two threads. So in that case, one thread can go from running state to runnable state, and also so thread can go into block state when there is any need of resources, but that resource is currently not available to acquire, right? So in that case, thread can go into block state or it can go into waiting state where it will wait indefinitely until we call it explicitly, like using notify or notify all method, using notify or notify all method. Okay, or we can like thread can go into waiting state for a certain period of time using this method, sleep, join and wait. When we pass the time, then it's called the time waiting. So for this amount of time, thread will be in waiting state and then again will be in a runnable mode. So once it will get the CPU, it will be in a running state. And from each state, thread can go into terminated state. So from here, if once the thread is completed, it can go into the terminated state. From here, from terminated state, thread cannot start again. So once it is terminated, thread is closed. So this was the life cycle of a thread. Now we will explore a producer-consumer problem in using thread. So in producer-consumer problem, we'll have a buffer or will have a resource, shared resource. Okay, so how this problem will look like, let's say we have a producer and we have a shared resource, we have one consumer. So producer will produce and consumer will consume from the resource. Okay, so when producer will produce the value, if like shared resource have some capacity, let's say capacity is 5. Okay, it can take at most 5 values. 5 values. Now, once producer will produce all the 5 values and resource is full, then it will go into wait state until consumer will call shared resource and it will consume the values, and it will consume until resource become empty. So producer will produce until it reaches the capacity and consumer will consume until it becomes empty. We can implement like this way. Let's say we have a buffer, this is a queue, and then its capacity is 5. So here we are producing until it reaches the capacity. Once it reaches the capacity, we'll call the wait method. Okay, and if like we have not reached the capacity, in that case we'll add a value into the buffer. Whatever value will be coming, we'll add it in the buffer, and then we are printing that we have produced this item, and then will notify all. It will notify all the consumers. Okay, the same way for consumer also, once it is until it is empty, will consume the value from buffer and will print that value, and also will notify the producer that we have consumed. So let's say this is in full capacity, it reaches its capacity. So until we call notify, producer will not start producing again. Okay, so that's why we have called notify all. So if it reaches its capacity, it will notify to producer, and then again the producer will start producing the value. So here in the consumer, so this is a thread. So we have a buffer instance, and here we are checking until its count reaches 10, we will consume. Okay, and same way for producer also, until it reaches 10, will produce the value here. So this is the example of a producer and consumer, where we are consuming until it becomes empty and producing until it reaches its total or available capacity. So in this video we have understood how to create a thread, we have learned about the life cycle of a thread, and also we have understood how to write a producer-consumer problem in Java. So that's it from this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel and do not forget to click on the bell icon so that once I upload a new video, you'll get a notification.